Tomorrow marks the 80th anniversary of the bombing of Darwin. The Prime Minister and opposition leader will be there in the north to commemorate that dark day in 1942 when World War II came crashing into our northern harbour city. The extent of the bombing raids and the damage that was done was kept quiet at the time in deference to the existential fears gripping the nation. More than 240 Japanese fighters and bombers swept over Darwin and its harbour in two separate raids. 11 US and Australian vessels were sunk, others damaged, more than 30 of our aircraft destroyed. 236 people were killed, with up to 400 injured. This was only 2 months after Pearl Harbor, and while the carnage there was 10 times worse, there were actually more bombs dropped on Darwin than on Pearl Harbor. Let me bring in the Assistant Defence Minister, Andrew Hastie, now live from Western Australia. Andrew, this was a dark day for Australia. I guess tomorrow we need to remember the sacrifice, but also recommit to the vigilance.
Good afternoon, Chris. It is a dark reminder of the attack that was launched by the Japanese on our country 80 years ago. And we remember the sacrifice of those more than 230 people who gave their lives defending our mainland. But it is a stark reminder in today's world that we need to be prepared to defend ourselves. It only happened 80 years ago. I grew up with grandparents, one of who was actually in Darwin at the time when it was bombed. And only 80 years ago was our mainland attacked. And so we need to be ready. As the RSL motto says, the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. And that's what we're doing with this government in preparing our defence force to maintain the peace by being strong into the future.